This will probably be the weirdest story that was ever told about demons. As I spoke in my previous videos about the attraction to horror movies and demons in general, I want to share in this video how abstract the reality is and how far God will go to save you. This is my story about the light and the dark, and me in between. I told you already that I went to a spiritual teacher because I knew I had to do something to heal my bloodline. She was recommended through my former partner's sister, and I trusted her. This teacher helped her mother after the breakup with her husband and helped her heal. For me, this was a good recommendation because this meant that she wasn't a complete stranger. My partner's sister and I decided to work with her after she proved to me that she did know something about me that no one knew. It was something special to me that I loved. She worked with energy, and our sessions were simple, where we asked things about life, etc. Everything seemed fine. After some time, she decided to put us into a group. We spoke about mysticism and got regular energetic updates, and believe me, you could feel that. Your whole body vibrated on a higher frequency. It was like being high on energy. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. My teacher was special as she had a strong temperament, and you had to learn how to deal with it. But my goal was to heal, and I could speak about anything with her that a therapist would not understand. But soon enough, we stopped speaking about personal things and moved on to mysticism. From my understanding now, it was too much for new starters like us, but we tried to keep up. The energetic shifts helped me to see things in my life and my family's more clearly, and for the first time in my life, I had a good dream. I dreamed about Jesus. He brought me to Egypt. I was overwhelmed because I knew it wasn't really Cairo, just a parallel dimension. I felt so worthless next to him, but I always felt that way. He just made it clear to me. I could not understand why he would come to me and speak to me. 3 pyramids and the night sky, but it was not only the sky. I felt God's presence, and that I was watched by that presence. The power made me understand how small I was in the universe and that nothing could be hidden. I was there with a small group of people and decided to sit down and pretend that I was invisible. This is what I had learned in my family. I hoped that Jesus would not come to me, that he would not speak to me. Why would he even want to? Who was I? Just a nobody. My family were great at pretending that we were Christians, but none of their behavior reflected that. I saw that even when I was a toddler. I remember that I always knew when they lied to me, and my parents did it all the time. So what happened when Jesus sat next to me and waited for me to speak? My question to him was so human, so sudden, but the answer explained everything. I asked Jesus, "Why are you black?" And you're asking yourself, how could I know that this was Jesus? I'm telling you, even though he didn't resemble any depictions that I have seen of him, his energetic signature was undeniable. It's like his energy spoke to me before he did anything. His simple answer to my question was, how else should I look? It was so clear that with this simple answer, he answered all the questions in my life. I knew that everything we were told, and I mean everything that I knew, was a complete lie. This made me so angry that I woke up, sadly. I was so happy about that dream that I went to my spiritual teacher and told her about it. But her reaction was not what I expected. She showed me that pointing adult finger when you scold a little child and said, "This dream is only for me and I should not speak about it to anyone." Her energy made me feel ashamed and unhappy. I buried that memory and forgot about Jesus. Even now, I don't understand how this could happen, but shame has always had a detrimental effect on my memories. The next phase of my life, I would call my second dark age, after my childhood. I worked hard on myself and tried to heal as much as possible, and the one thing that helped me later was when she taught us not to be afraid of the dark side of life. But the path that I walked with my teacher was a two-edged sword, because on one hand we spoke about deeply philosophical texts, and on the other hand it became something different. One, I got a book for my birthday. Let's say it's not a positive one. I could not even finish it because I realized it was purely about manipulation at its core. Sometimes I thought about exiting the group, but firstly, I knew that I still had a lot to learn. Secondly, I didn't know how because I felt bound to it. And thirdly, I didn't want to give up or be lazy. Also, one aspect of me was afraid of her. Back in the day, I thought it had to do with her mood, but later I would find out why. The next thing that happened was the most unusual encounter of my life. My spiritual awakening allowed me to see through the veil. One aspect was that I saw and felt my past lives. Also, I had energetic vision. This is how I would describe it now. I could look into the timeline of a choice that I considered taking in the future and could consciously make the decision to reject it if I didn't like it. The next expansion happened when I started to see multi-dimensional beings, which scared the shit out of me, even though I believed that they must exist. So let's start with my first unusual demonic encounter. One day, I sat in my living room, and there he was. He sat at the food table and watched me. His eyes were round and wide open. He seemed shocked, to be honest, and so was I. What I had learned from my teacher is that I could see with my consciousness if any of those otherworldly beings had bad intentions. It's like checking a security protocol. But there was no danger, no evil intent. He seemed curious, but also confused. For some reason, I was able to see his thoughts, and he had no idea why he appeared in front of me. It's like he had amnesia. He looked more like a human that was wearing a demonic costume. It had a touch of comedy. I thought he would disappear like most things that I saw, but he didn't. And for some reason, the other things scared me, but he was quiet and watched me with big eyes. I spoke with my teacher about it, and she said she had many protectors. That's why it appeared. One of her many lies that I would find out later on. He didn't come from her. This is what my intuition told me. After a couple of days, I decided to speak telepathically with him. He answered and told me also his name when I asked. I remembered that I Googled the name and thought it was stupid to tell me his name because with the name I had power over him. To be honest, I didn't know what I should do with him. I just let him be. I had many issues in my life that kept me busy. Problems at work, my ex, my family. My life was just draining. And on top, I had my whole life nightmares and panic attacks. It's like I could never rest. And all of a sudden, I had an epiphany. I remembered that in Asian cultures, they had protective spirits, like what we would call demons, as statues in front of their houses. They would serve for protection. Here are some examples. Asian cultures feature protective demons that are actually powerful spirits or deities, like China's Zongqi, Japan's Shoki, and fierce Oni, who embody strength to fight malevolent entities, not just demons in the Western sense, serving as fearsome guardians for homes and festivals and against illness, blurring lines between scary figures and protectors through their fierce appearance and ability to command lesser spirits. When I woke up from my haunting nightmares, I asked for help. I asked him to take away the fear and allow me to rest peacefully for the rest of the night. He seemed confused because I guess no one ever asked him that kind of question, but he did it, and it worked. Every time I had a panic attack, I called for him, and he could absorb all the fear. It makes sense that he knows how to deal with the darkness. He became my emotional spirit animal. He was seriously my only positive support, which should not be the case, but I could not rely emotionally on the people in my life. I was their support, basically. And I needed him because my teacher, who gave me warnings about any little shit, even though I was the most shy, kind, and insecure person, started suddenly to introduce me to the dark side. First, she mentioned the Satanic Bible, which I didn't understand why. I Googled the table of contents and understood it was all about the self, but simultaneously selfish. I knew this was not for me, so I didn't order anything. Then she mentioned, after I told her about that I should order the demonic tarot deck to understand what kind of species exist. I thought to myself, this is crazy. I just started to learn the side of the light and was basically a baby in my studies. It was insanity to open a dangerous door like that and intentionally connect with demonic entities. I knew that my soul, God, said to me, stay away, and this is what I did. My teachings with my femme teacher became weirder and weirder. In the beginning and mid-part, she knew partly how to guide me, but now she didn't help, but confused me even more. I wanted to exit the group, but didn't know how because I was somehow bound to her in a weird way. I was also a bit scared of her. I believed that I made a subconscious prayer to be able to leave, but before I got many hints that she obviously didn't respect what I was expecting from her, and this was about healing my trauma from my bloodline and life, and living an abundant life in a peaceful way. There were some instances that happened before God helped me to free myself. First, she wanted me to date her son, even though she never asked me if I was interested in him. Secondly, the teachings we learned, even though good, she learned that they had some errors but kept it quiet in front of the group. One day she told me when we were alone, I didn't understand why somebody could not speak the truth. What was the problem with correcting or overwriting teachings when you realized some errors? I honestly didn't know what to do with her. Then she told me the final info, where things finally made sense. She offered me to join the Church of Satan because if you do it, even without participating, you can harvest the energy that they provide. I knew she had many challenges in her life, but so did I, and this was not how I intended to solve mine. I knew I had to keep calm and figure a way out without making her angry. The opportunity came a year later. I got promoted and had to move to the other side of the country. I needed the money from my teachings for the new furniture and couldn't afford to pay for lessons. My intuition that she would be angry with me proved me right, but I was lucky that I was friends with her daughter, and she protected me, basically. After I moved to the other end of the country, I felt safer, which didn't require a lot of support from my guardian. There were only 2 instances when I needed him to help me with my fear, before I had the vision that we both passed the test. Which test? I asked. Jesus came to us and gave that demon with that soul a whole new body, let's say an angelic body. I cried my little heart out because I was so proud of him. Before Jesus took him with him, the ex-demon said to me, "Now I am also beautiful," which made me cry even more, because for me, he was always beautiful. Later, my questions were answered. God gave me multiple tests that I had to pass because I carried the potential to be the most powerful spiritual person in my family. When my grandma, my dad's mum, who used black magic, died, I inherited her power. Simultaneously, I carried the biggest spiritual power inherited from my mum's side, from my grandpa, who had a pure soul. God tested me with that demon who he gave a soul. Would I use him to harm others, or would I be smart? And the demon was also tested. Would he accept the gift from God to respect his newly given soul, or would he use it to deceive me? Both of us passed with flying colors, and I underestimated this win until I wrote down this journey. I had so many chances within my family and surroundings to enter the dark path easily, but God kept me going, kept me safe with impossible measures, and I am grateful for it. 5 years later, I received the whole story of what the demon was doing when he was not with me. He was supervised by my guardian angel to keep going and believe in me. Even Jesus had to appear in front of him and motivate him to keep going. The emotions that he received with his new soul were overwhelming to him, and I saw how he was constantly sad and depressed because of me. He saw the dark magic on me through the bloodline of my father's mum, and even my spiritual teacher had left a trail of dark energy on me while I was in her group. This is the reason why I forgot about Jesus and he could not reach him. The demon could naturally surpass those dark firewalls. His only job was to believe in me and protect me from further harm until I woke up to what was going on with me. I saw that I was not the only one who could see him. Besides my sister and one friend, he started to speak with priests that could see him. One was from an Asian country who gave the demon good advice on how to support me, and he said he would pray for us and our journey. The other looked like a priest from an American church that was able to see through the veil. They started a kind of friendship and spoke about the Bible and me. That priest promised the demon to pray for me as well. The cutest part of my vision was where he started to read the Bible while he was protecting me through the night, and everything that resembled me, he spoke to me about it. He said multiple times that I was like Joseph, who was sold by his family, because this happened to me in a spiritual sense. I explained the details in my video about generational curses. After that, I saw his new angelic form only one more time when I needed motivation. He came to me when I was hopeless, and I felt so much love from him. I cried so much because of how much I love him too. He protected me when others could not, and never judged me, and neither did I. I loved him even when his visuals didn't represent something that we humans call beautiful or lovable. I know that he protects me from the higher realms, and that one day I will see him again.